Karel Schulz was a Czech writer. He was born in 1899 in Městec Králové, the son of translator Ivan Schulz and harpist Jarmila Mařáková. He studied law and then medicine but had to abandon his studies due to financial reasons in 1926. He was a member of the Devětsil literary group until 1924, when he was expelled after being unfairly accused of plagiarizing Stevenson's The Suicide Club. He married Hanna Janušková and they had 3 children. He died of heart disease in 1943 in Prague. He is really only remembered for his abrogated trilogy Stone and Agony, centering on the life of Michelangelo Buonarroti, of which only the first part and a small section of the second were written before his death. Schulz was a Catholic writer, writing hagiographies and Christian legends, such as praise for the saintly patrons of Czechia, encouragement for us to venerate them in this most dangerous time, which came out in 1935. However, his novel enraged other Catholic writers and the Church so much it was put on the index of forbidden books in both the Prague and Olomouc dioceses. We will review his 1941 The Queen's Ring. The unknown face concerns a man who cannot sleep due to his work, and can only fall asleep when he spies a strange man walking the streets outside at night. He has no idea who he is, but he sees the strange man and his house in his head every night when going to sleep, the two in a strange symbiosis. And then one day, when returning home from a long time in exile, he discovers a newspaper by chance confirming the man's deaf and unknown identity. The terrible player is a bit of a disappointment. It is too long and meandering and starts with 2 boys playing imaginative games though one seems to believe them to be true, and ends with them being old after they love the same woman, now dead. A madman in front of a mirror concerns an old abandoned house, the hiding place of criminals and vagabonds, which was owned by a strange man who lived in total seclusion and had a massive collection of strange items brought with him from all over the world. Then when they are to tear the house down, a much abused, deformed and mentally challenged worker who gets beaten and mocked for his hideousness repeatedly, finds a strange mirror left behind by the owner, which distorts the face of anyone who looks into it into a hideous demonic grin, but which makes him look beautiful. Then some children smash it. The Queen's Ring concerns Queen Kunhuta, wife of Bohemian King Przemysl Otakar II, the ring she got from a court madman, and her wavering love to the king and her growing love to Lord Zawish of Falkenstein, of whom they say he is really a wizard. The girl with the scarlet breasts, the nearly best story in the book, are the remembrances of brother Adauktus, once named Lukáš Jáchym from Branice, the last member of a noble family, who recounts his authoritative, aggressive father and his suffering mother. He tells of how his father would round up the local heretics in the forest and send them to fight in the war, and of his hereditary hatred towards their neighbour, the Marquis of Blois, with which he indoctrinated his son. Then one day a local Jesuit is burned to death while sleeping in a mill by the heretics whose holy books he stole, and this fire is what Adauktus says resulted in his sister being born with scarlet markings on her breasts. She is to be a nun but then becomes the lover of the Marquis of Blois, but she asks her brother to kill him on their next meeting. Then she runs away and he spends years looking for her as the entire country writhes under the scourge of the plague. The Rooster's Song, the best story in the book, has a messenger ride out with the news of the execution of Jan Smiřický, a nobleman in the service of King John of Poděbrady. As he rides up, he winds up in a swamp where he imagines demonic beings surrounding him on every side, before he meets an old woman carrying a rooster as a sacrifice to a meeting of worshippers of Judas, so he chases her down and cuts her throat. The book ends with a rather basic morality tale, so let's ignore that and enjoy the previous 2.